How's it going? So, you're not gonna get to the top without understanding this. And I want to break it down to you. And by top, I mean like, top of your industry or top of whatever you're doing. That could be like a business, that could be in volleyball. I don't really care, but you have to understand this thing. And there's this notion that people have where it's like you're either right or you're wrong. It's either yes or no, it's either black or white. But I want to tell you that the way you get to the top is not by being any of you. You don't have to be in these polarities. You just have to be the most observant in the room. So I'm going to give you an example here. So I can put a couple of these faces here because I think a lot of people will know who these people are. So, especially in this business world. So there's Andrew Tate, Alex Mosey, Ty Lopez, Grant Cardone. So a lot of words might come to your head when you see these people. And that's a good thing, because what happens is that we have emotions associated, and we have emotions and things associated with these people, and what happens is that it completely skews how we view them, even in an objective manner. So as of right now, I have no opinions of any of these people. I just observe how they play the game. So I'm going to give you an example. Andrew Tate, everyone is familiar with him, regardless on his opinion on everything in the world. There is a fact that everyone tries to ignore, and the fact is that he's been able to build 67 multi-figure businesses, so he must know something. And what you need to do now, once you've heard this fact, and once you know that this fact is true, you're like, okay, cool. Let me put my observation goggles and see what he's been doing, essentially. So obviously from right now, he started like a couple different things. Like I know he did like some cam stuff, whatever, but I'm just talking about like right now with like his new offer and everything, like the $50 thing. What he does from here is that he gets millions of impressions from his fan accounts from all the obnoxious stuff that he says. So he says stuff like, I'm not even gonna say that here, but like it's like mind-boggling stuff that you be like, why would you say this online? But that's part of his brand and it works for him. So anyways, that's what he does, and he gets tons of attention doing that way. And then what he does from there is that all the short clips that everyone's just posting around, taking stuff out of context, he funnels them down into longer form videos where he expresses his thoughts better, essentially. So what's going to happen is that someone's going to see this thing and they'll be like, what the hell is this guy saying? And then they're going to see the longer video and they'll be like, okay, let me check this out. And then they watch the whole thing and they're like, okay, this person is actually kind of smart, or they might relate to them or something. This is not my opinion, by the way. This is just objectively. And then obviously they look at it and they're like, okay, cool, this guy's expressing the stuff. And then they get funneled into his lower ticket stuff where he explains how you can do whatever you want to do, essentially, whether that could be starting a business, making money, etc., etc., after he breaks your beliefs or after he affirms your beliefs, essentially. So this is his funnel. And then what happens from here is that from all these millions, he gets tens and thousands of people in his community that are paying him $50 every single month, and that's recurring revenue for him. So you can look at that and be like, yeah, this is like, crazy, and like this is awful, but I can look at this and be like, wow, this is actually pretty small, essentially. Most people don't think it is because, again, it's the skewed stuff that they do, because they think, oh, it's just, it's normal and stuff like that. But you're not going to get to that point by being normal, essentially. So yeah, so you see how once you leave emotions or perception out of this, I could have showed you this thing from someone else and not said Andrew Tate, and you'd be like, yeah, this is pretty smart. And then if I said it was Andrew Tate, you might be like, okay, this is not smart, or this is actually pretty dumb. So this stuff is like really insanely smart once you look at it from a different perspective of not someone that might not be to the standard that you look at them, essentially. So let's say, for example, Alex Mosey spends $100,000 a month on content, guys, just videos. And what he does from there is that he funnels all that stuff into his free stuff, his free products that help people start businesses at acquisition.com. That's where he makes all his money. He sends all the traffic there. And then people take the advice, they implement the stuff, and then when they see the results, they just have this bias from Alex that he's giving them so much value that when they get to the point where they're in that $3 million range where Alex says he wants to work with you, they just go to him because he's the person that's giving them the most amount of value and the most amount of knowledge. So when they're like, hey, I want to scale, I'm gonna go to Alex because I've just consumed so much of his content. And for him to get the same impressions that he's getting right now with his content, it will cost him like 10 times more than he's spending right now. I think he said something like it will cost him like 7 million or something in impressions to get the amount that he's getting right now. So it's not even 10 times, like probably like 70 times more, something like that. And he even claimed himself that he was able to get 36 returns on his investment. So what that means is that he was able to spend $1 and get $36 out from ads. So he completely stopped all of that stuff and he started making content. So that should give you a perspective. Okay, something is going on here. There's a shift. And most people, they might not try to look at this because they might be like, oh, he already has an audience and stuff like that. But he had to build this stuff from literally zero. Even though he had stuff that he knew, he had to build it from complete scratch. So same thing with Ty Lopez and Grant Cardone. Whatever you guys might think of them, I don't really care. All I care about is how you can actually build a business that provides value. And you might not like how they flex their shiny objects like, Lamborghinis and like flying jets and all that type of stuff. But what happens is that the people who share this type of stuff tend to get the most attention. Because what happens is that for every one person that gets pissed off at this stuff, that's like, oh, this is disgusting, I don't like these people flex and all that type of stuff, there's 10 or 5 to 10 other people that are looking at this video and they're like, okay, how is this guy doing this stuff? They're like, okay, what's the secret? What does he know? How is he able to get these stuff? And that's where he makes his money. He gets his money from those people who are curious and they want to see the stuff. And you might think that these public figures have like negative light, but the only reason it looks like that is because negative comments are just very loud and apparent. Like, let's say, for example, if you're on Amazon and you're looking at like, let's say you're looking at like a piece of tech. Let's say you're trying to get headphones and the thing you saw had like 50 reviews and you're like, cool, there's like 25 positive ones and then there's like 3 or 4 negative reviews, and the negative reviews are like very, very detailed and they go into detail of exactly why this person is XYZ. What's going to happen is that after looking at those 25 positive reviews, even if they were super detailed, those negative ones are just going to stick out to you because your brain is just conditioned to just remove fear, just escape from it. Like, it doesn't want to like do anything that doesn't, that's not going to be like the best for it. So it's going to look at it and be like, yeah, this is not it. Even though there was like 25 other positive reviews that had the same amount of detail. So that's where a lot of these people get it wrong and they start to get like negative connotations with stuff, because it's the same thing for like, anything in general. Let's say, for example, football. Let's say your favorite player is like Ronaldo or something like that. Whatever you might think of Ronaldo, he was still able to perform at the top level. So he might know something that you just don't know. But the reason why most people don't like to see that stuff is because they just have some hatred that just skews the whole way they view them, even if they're objectively good at what they do, essentially. So from being an observer from all of these people, they're making content, they're making like, millions and stuff, just doing the normal stuff, like just being themselves and like, just posting stuff, instead of like looking at it from a lens of like, everyone is bad and everyone's this and everyone's fake. Look at it from the lens of like, how are they doing this stuff, and then see how you can implement something like that, essentially. And that's exactly what I was gonna do. So this is the observations of how exactly most of the time this is how the system works. So what they do is that they have content that works for them while they sleep. So they have people, they record the content, obviously they have people distributing it, they have people editing it, and it gets distributed out to multiple different channels. This stuff, you can't do this by yourself. Like, it's impossible. If you want to get to this type of scale that they're doing, you have to spend money. So there you go. You can't do this by yourself. And then the next thing is that they get all the short form content that they're making, or long form content, and then they funnel all the action takers. So the people who are like genuinely just like, how are they doing this type of thing, interested, they get funneled into the system. So the system is either long form content, and it's not, systems is like a weird word, like it's a weird word to describe because everyone has different systems. It could be like a free course, it could be like a pay thing where it's like $2 or something like that, but most of these people will have something that's lower ticket or something that you can just get your foot into the door to see more information and learn more about them, essentially. So that could be like $50 products, that could be like free courses, anything like that. They have a system in place, and you can't just build this out of thin air. You have to actually craft the system like in a specific way. And then from there, they consume the content, and then they get driven up the decision ladder. If you don't know what the decision ladder is, check out my previous video. I talk about it right there. I'll probably link it top right or something like that. And then once you're on that decision ladder, what happens is that you get built trust, and then you start converting, you start spending money with them because your trust is built up. And then ultimately the beliefs are broken or reaffirmed, and then they start transacting with them, then they start giving them money. And this whole system is not just like someone saying, hey, XYZ is bad, I'm the best, or something like that. Like, this whole system takes work, and it actually takes people to make it work. And that's why you don't see it, but these people have multiple teams of just content editors and just distributors and strategizers. They have huge people working under them, and you will not see all that type of stuff. You won't see all the work that goes behind it, because you just see the front end image, and that's the best part about it, because no one needs to know. And that's why the people who observe the stuff and see the back end tend to, understand the game a lot better than a lot of people, essentially. And no one observes these beautiful systems, because instead they just want to say, oh, this person is dumb, I can't listen to this person because it says XYZ, or this person is XYZ, essentially. And while you're complaining about stuff while you're complaining about all that type of stuff, I'm listening to ways that can actually help people build businesses and become influencers of their space with content. So regardless of your opinions about any of these people, I'm still going to look at them, because, hey, they're making the money. So I want to get to that point as well, too, where I'm not necessarily saying outrageous stuff, but I just want to get to the point. And I want my clients to get to the point where they're making that type of money as well, too, with minimal effort. And I can confidently see I have an offer that actually does this type of things for people. So if you want to check that out, go to webful.com, because I can't put it in this video, it's going to make it too long, and that's going to give you all the details that goes into it and how you can actually become the number one influencer of your space, and also acquire clients for your content without spending any sort of money on ads. Because most of these people, they do spend money on ads, but nowadays it's all about the content, because that's how you can make money from literally nothing. So yeah, you want to check that out, webful.com. I'll leave the link on the description. I'm also going to leave the link to my free training where it teaches you how to acquire clients for free. So yeah, check those stuff out, especially webful.com. Please book a call, do that type of stuff, and yeah, we'll speak to you very soon. Peace out.